Hello and welcome back to Randomly Generated Conversations. I'm Wesley Sellers, and I'm here with my son, Bastion Sellers.
Hello.
This podcast is available on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, as well as Spotify and YouTube. We'd like to ask you guys to go ahead and follow. Right now we're getting a lot more listens than we have followers. And it allows us to get more visibility if you follow this, as well as allows you guys to be notified when a new episode is out. Also, encourage you to go over and subscribe to our YouTube page. We, in the future, will be doing a video version of this podcast. And we also released a video on there called Randomly Generated Movies, and we'll be having a few more of those, where we AI generated some movie posters. And then we had to decide what the movie was about, give it a name, and kind of decide the catchphrase of it. So we took time and we made a video with that. It was really fun. I hope you guys go over there and watch it. And we have some others that we'll be putting out there. All right, so to not delay it any longer, today's topics are: what modern gadget could you not live without? What games did you play in the school playground? Would you rather have a sports car or luxury car? And what was the last meal you cooked? So what modern gadgets could you not live without?
I don't know. I could probably live without most of them.
Okay. Any that would make it really difficult?
Probably computers.
Okay.
Because I do most of my homework on a computer. And if we didn't have computers, then we'd go paper-wise. But then you lose the papers, and then you can't find them and everything like that. So.
Well, even papers, they're printed with
a computer.
Computers where I was going to go with, too. It's made work a lot easier. I remember doing some of my first papers on a typewriter. Yes, I'm that old. Having to type, but then we would also, if you made a mistake, sometimes you just throw out the paper, or we had one of the fancy ones where you could load this whiteout cartridge into there, but you'd have to line it up perfectly and hit the whiteout of the letter, and it would cover it up, and then keep it lined up as you put the ink cartridge back in to be able to hit the number or letter. And if you did get it moved a little bit, you'd have the words start out on one line and they'd be a little bit lower on the next one because it was hard to get it all lined back up. I'm just kind of glad not to be using typewriters anymore. I do remember when we first got a computer and I did my first writing assignment on there. It was on WordPerfect was the program, and it was DOS based. It was this blue screen in the back of the WordPerfect. So we didn't have Windows at the time, but we would load this up on a disk in the computer from the DOS prompt. And it was this blue screen WordPerfect. And you would type. It was easier on a typewriter, but it still was not near as easy as the word processing software we have today. But the progress that's been made since then, I would not have to write. I would not enjoy writing everything out by hand. I worked in contracts for a while and proposal preparation, and I would not want to have to write a full proposal by hand or even on a typewriter. It's nice to be able to write it where you have spell check and everything else there. And it's easy to make edits too. You don't have to type up the whole thing if you want to make edits and everything, as well as just being able to send it digitally without having to send it in the mail and everything else. Makes it so much nicer. So I agree. Computers, I think we have overdone computers.
Yeah.
I mean, our phones, we talked about that in a previous episode. Our phones are basically miniature computers. Our tablets are miniature computers. A lot of times nowadays, even cars are miniature computers.
It is true. I mean, they're starting with like artificial intelligent cars. Those sort of need computers in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because an AI is not just like, oh, it's just some sort of force. You shove it into this car and it does itself. No, it's a computer that can generate its own stuff due to it knows a basis of things. And my only worry about AI, though, is that it's starting to get smarter and smarter most of the time. That eventually, like, it will get smart enough that's, like, almost like a human brain. Unless somebody kill codes it, then
right.
It just shuts it down.
Currently, from what I've read, it's not at a self-learning capability yet. It still needs human input to be able to learn. So it still differs from a human brain where they can have it learn certain programs and improve. I mean, they've shown that with like different chess things and that. But AI itself cannot be self-sufficient, growing yet. And with cars, yeah, they have the self-driving and everything based off of maps and sensors and everything else. But yeah, it's a computer that's within it. So computers have definitely improved our life, but now they're every portion of it. Even
they're taking up our life.
Right, they take up our life. Even our televisions now are miniature computers in a sense. That beforehand, you know, you would have a DVD player or a VHS player, or yeah, you had the knob and everything, and now everything's loaded within the computer itself. It connects or to the TV itself. It connects to the internet, can load up Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Vudu, whatever program you watch shows on, and streams them and everything. It memorizes your account, so it has memory there on the computer. So they're basically I keep saying computer because that's what it is. TV are basically miniature computers too. So we rely so much on different computers.
Yeah.
In our life. I mean, even we were at the store and we saw fridges that keep track of what's in your fridge and can give you recipe ideas based off of what's in your fridge and everything. So even our refrigerators are turning into computers.
It reminds me of a show, The Mitchells vs. Machines. Eventually, if like it were to be like PAL and stuff like that, they have some sort of like one person that made these things that like have those, like what's going on right now with the fridges and stuff like that. The robot apocalypse happens and those things like turn haywire and just go. It's what it reminded me of.
Mitchells vs. the Machines. That's a good show.
That is a very good show.
All right. So, Baston, when you were back in elementary school as a little kid, what games did you play on the school playground?
We would play mostly games with like these. I remember it perfectly because I've gotten hit in the face by these plenty of times. These red dodgeballs.
Okay.
So we just play with them no matter what. We'd have to be the first ones on the playground or they'd all be gone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not the first one on the playground, you don't get a ball. And that was basically what it was. I'd usually try to be the first person out there, but the problem is most of the time I'd get one of those like big purple 4-square balls. Those are not fun to accidentally get hit by too. But we'd usually play like a catching game, right? We'd throw it up in the air, somebody have to catch it. It's behind them, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, with a smaller one, it's harder to catch and stuff like that, and it doesn't hurt as much.
Mm-hmm.
One of these big purple 4-square balls chucked in the air, somebody's not paying attention and bonks them on the head, it hurts. Well, that was one of the games we'd also play when I was in like, I don't remember what grade, but I had a couple friends, so one of them moved away, but we were playing a game that was literally just a Mario game, basically. We had this dodgeball. We'd bounce it back to each other, and if it was like 5 passes and then you caught it, you had a superstar, and you chuck at somebody. Sort of like kill with volleyball.
Or like what we used to do with hacky sack, right? We'd play kill with hacky sack after it was hit 5 or 10 times in the air by different people, then you would catch it and throw it at somebody. So similar to that.
Yeah, but we bounced down there as long as if as long as it was not like out of the little square that we made, because we had chalk most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't out of the squares we made, then it was still in play, and then you had the superstar where you could chuck at somebody and they'd be out. It was the weirdest thing. I already remember that fully, because I remember...
You were always out?
Mm-hmm.
You were always one getting hit in the head
First.
with the ball?
No, but then one more game that I remember. And so at my school, it was kind of weird. The girls owned the soccer field. So, like, if you went on the soccer field, they would chase you down. And, like, you had somebody that was literally acting as if they were a dragon, okay? We had somebody as a dragon on the playground that they would chase you down, and if you messed up, you messed up. You better get out of there as fast as you could, or you're not getting out. But then they'd, like, allow certain people to go and play soccer. That's why I never played soccer on the soccer fields, because I wasn't able to, unless you snuck around the people and they didn't pay attention. It got different after 3rd grade, then everybody just ignored each other most of the time. Actually, no, it was 5th. People started ignoring each other, so we just played soccer most of the time. So,
okay.
It was weird.
We used to play a lot of stuff out on the playground at school. We would get in trouble for something, so doing monkey fights on the monkey bars, or it wasn't called monkey fights, it's called something else, where you would be hanging there and trying to knock the other person off using kind of just your feet.
Oh yeah, that was like...
And somebody hurt their arm, didn't break it, but sprained it, so we could no longer play that. I remember when we did want to play stuff like Foursquare or dodgeball. Usually not dodgeball, but wall ball. It's kind of like dodgeball, but everybody's lined up against a wall and somebody's throwing balls at them. I don't know what's the obsession with, like, elementary school. Even the gym teachers have this obsession of people just begging each other with these balls, just taking them and throwing them at each other. You have dodgeball, wall ball, all these things. It's just this obsession with getting hit by balls.
I had a lot of, like, gym teachers, because we didn't really have gym teachers,
mm-hmm.
but they hated dodgeball, that we never actually got dodgeball as, like, a childhood game. But, like, we played it once, okay? We played it once. Somebody had, like, gotten a black eye due to a ball hit them in the face, and we never played it again. We just kept playing parachute games, and I remember those so much. Like, you'd have somebody under the parachute, and they, like, grab somebody's leg, and he had a lifeguard, and it was so random.
Well, parachute games in PE, right? In physical education, even those included getting hit with a ball. We would play poison. Poison was, you would have a ball on the parachute, and you're trying to roll it and get other people out without it touching your hands there on the parachute.
I remember.
So once again, it's this obsession with people getting hit with a ball. But anyway, I digress. We go back to, we used to play wall ball. But right before recess, the whole class would run up to right behind the teacher's desk. That's where the tote was, with all the different outdoor stuff, whether it was jump ropes or basketballs or the coveted red balls for that, right?
Yes, those ones were the fun ones.
And so we finally figured it out in, like, 6th grade.
I didn't get it.
The system, and it was the worst system ever. Because if you got in trouble in class, you had to sit by the teacher's desk. So you wouldn't want to get in trouble enough that you were sent to detention or the principal's office.
Yeah.
But we kind of had a system where we'd take turns having somebody get in trouble enough that they were sitting close to a teacher's desk. Because then when recess came around, they could just turn around, grab the ball, and we had it to go out and play. But when we didn't have the ball, we had one of those, what we would call bubbles. They're the domes that have the bars all through it. And we would play spider or spider tag. So you have somebody on the underside of the bubble, and they're crawling around trying to tag people that are on top. Basically, they're stuck in the spider web, and the spider's trying to grab them. And then when you're tagged, you become one of the spiders as well. And so you have everybody crawling until somebody's running away from all these spiders that are hanging upside down on the bubble. And that was probably the most common game we would play. We played tetherball sometimes, but the tall kids always won. And I was never one of the tall kids. So tetherball got really boring really fast. You'd always try to find somebody shorter than you to play against. And then you would feel like you were actually good at it. Tetherball was not about skill. There was no skill in tetherball. If you were tall, you won. If you were short, you lost. That's how it was. Unless you were a short guy who could jump, but jump continuously, because every time that ball came around, you had to keep being able to jump, or else the tall guy just sticks his hands up and stops it.
I remember playing against Mom. She would come, we'd play tetherball sometimes and stuff like that. I remember I won once.
Okay.
She still won. I was good at jumping and stuff like that.
She's not that tall, but being you were in elementary school, you weren't taller than her yet.
And then I'm going back to the spider thing.
Oh, the spider thing?
Sorry, now I'm going back
to
the
spider
thing.
Because I was like, I don't remember your mom playing spider with you.
No, we played tetherball together, but with spider, we didn't exactly play spider. We played like Forest Lava. We had stuff like that, sort of.
Uh-huh.
We had this little rope bridge, right? It was so much fun to play on. Somebody kicked my legs while I was walking on this rope bridge, and there's little like things. There's a long one, and then there's a long one in the middle, and you just have like the little stairs, sort of like a ladder. Somebody kicks your legs while you're in the middle, close by those long one, like the long one going down the middle.
Ow!
You fall, and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
We had people that when we were playing Floors Lava, like they would go and say, "Hey, move out of my way," so they kick your feet that you'd fall into there. It's almost as if like falling in a trampoline when you're jumping and jumping and jumping, that your foot gets stuck inside between two springs.
Ooh.
And you swing back, and that was a fun experience that one time.
Trampolines, that has to be a topic for another time.
Yeah.
Stupid things done on a trampoline. I should probably make a note of that, because we definitely need to have that as a topic for a later time.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from playgrounds, would you rather have a sports car or a luxury car?
Is a luxury car like the more expensive ones? Which is a luxury car?
So, a sports car is usually looks more sleek, is more for going fast and everything. I mean, looking at your Lamborghinis, your Corvettes, your
Ferraris or no?
Ferraris, yeah. I was gonna say Porsche. You do have Porsche sports cars, but you also have some Porsche luxury cars. Luxury would be more of like your BMWs, your Lexus, your cars that have more of like the gadgets and the luxury things inside, all the little doodads here and there, where the sports cars are more about speed, having a bigger engine in them, and just looking sleek.
Can I choose neither? Because I'd love one of those like older cars. No, but if I had to go with one of the two, I would go probably like a sports car maybe, because those ones seem like a little, even though they're faster, I would still make sure I didn't go super fast, because I'm not good with speed and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
But yeah.
I mean, you said older cars, so instead of like a sports car or luxury car, you'd want more of like a vintage or collection type, like a Model T.
I'm just kidding. No, not one of those. But like, I've been seeing this car around, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like one of my dream cars. It's a pretty cool one. But I can't name it.
Mm-hmm. I think you've shown it to me at one point, or pointed it out.
Convertible or something like that. Like, it was one of those sort of convertible things that like had the one that wasn't automatic, like the button thing. I think you had to like hook it up or something like that. It was a nice car.
Well, I think you've also taken a liking to like some of the older Corvettes as well. The old style, not the newer style. Mm. And yeah, every time that you mention a car that you like or point one out, it's always kind of an old vintage car. So maybe you'll find one of those one day and restore it or whatever. And
I mean, that's what somebody did for a school project.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sports car, luxury car. I am there with neither as well because I like to be able to work on my own cars, and I really hate how much computer driven the luxury cars are and how hard they are to work on. And the sports cars usually being more compact are a little harder to work on as well.
Yeah.
However, if I had to choose, I am not a speed driver. I'm not always going under the speed limit either. I mean, sometimes I'll go, 5 or a little over the speed limit. But I don't need that big engine, right? And with if you're putting a V8 under a smaller car, it's still a V8. It's still using, at least, I haven't been looking at sports cars for a while. But when I was younger, uses a lot more gas than just regular cars. So I think luxury car to me would be a little more like it. I've had a Lincoln Town Car. That was one of the first cars I drove. My dad had it. It was like a huge boat, had lights. When you put on a turn signal, you'd have a light on the side for the whole purpose of the front end was the whole size of another compact car. So you had to be able to see in order to turn. Also have had that was a 87, I believe. And I had a Lincoln Continental from the 90s. That was also really nice. When you'd open the door, the seat would move back for you. And then you'd close the door and it moves into position and everything. Cool. Mirrors adjust to different settings automatically. And I liked those cars. So those would fall under the luxury style. So I think I'd be more prone for a luxury car than a sports car just because I don't have the need for speed. I don't have this desire to go fast, and I don't need a big engine in the car.
Well, I don't desire to go fast either, so then I might go luxury car. But, the look of sports cars, in my opinion, is cool.
They have a very nice, sleek look.
So if I had, the look of a sports car, but I had the engine of, a Corolla, then maybe.
Then you would be laughed at, right?
It's like, oh my goodness, such a nice car.
They go to floor it, and it's like 0 to 60 in 5 minutes. Just kidding. Something's also to be said about the fact that they do have a V8 in there, and V8s tend to last longer than some of the smaller engines. That's why trucks with the larger engines tend to be able to get 300, 400,000 miles on them. So there's something to be said about the hardiness of the engine.
Yeah.
Just personally, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, and I just go for the look of the car then. Because then, the ladies are going to be like, oh my goodness, this car's amazing.
You pop the hood and the squirrels jump out. The squirrels are running the wheel inside the car.
Pop the hood and it's some old engine from a very old car.
You have to crank it to get it started.
I mix the old with the new. And I call it the old new. The new old. There we go.
All right. So, what was the last meal you cooked?
Quesadilla.
I thought you were going to say ramen noodles.
No, I didn't do that. My sister did that. No, the last meal, I think it was actually ramen noodles was the last meal I cooked.
And this isn't even ramen noodles on the stovetop. This is pouring water in a cup of ramen or cup of noodle and sticking it in the microwave.
Mm-hmm. Due to, I haven't been able to cook in a little while since still need a little help, and I have fear of heat and sharp objects, and yeah.
He's always talking about how he wants to cook or own a bakery or whatever, but we ask him to slice some onions and he's afraid of the knife. Can I cut it with a butter knife? No, you need a sharp knife.
Like that. I've actually cut some things with a sharp knife, but it scares me sometimes. What would the fear of fire be arson phobia.
I'll have to look that up sometime. Maybe that'll be your next trivia question. What is the fear of fire?
Because we have aquaphobia is the fear of water. Acrophobia, I don't remember what that was.
The fear of doing acrobatics? I don't know.
I think that was like the fear of air or something like that. Heights or something like that.
Okay.
And he had like the fear of spiders, arachnophobia. But like the fear of sharp objects was like arco something phobia. And I'm like, oh, that's a fun one to say. Achiophobia, something like that. Achiophobia.
Accio firebolt. Oh wait.
Achiophobia.
I don't think you wanna acchiophobia.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I haven't cooked in a while.
Last meal I cooked, well, that was today.
Mm-hmm.
I made miso soup with pork and shrimp lumpia. So that was good.
See, he cooks better things than I ever can, because he cooks like the miso soup. He made that with like different ingredients and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, if you make it with just one ingredient, it would be
no,
water.
I didn't mean that. But the whatever, I don't know how to say it. Lumpia.
Uh-huh.
The lumpia he got from a cardboard box. And
That I
can't
did.
even heat that up in a cardboard box.
I was trying to avoid the fact that those ones were frozen, and all I did was fry them up.
I'm not really the best at shoving things in a toaster, putting some in a microwave, or no. It's an ongoing joke about a toaster, and
Do I cook this ramen in a toaster, or
no, not that joke, not that.
just kidding? No, he was. How old were you? Like
I think 12.
12
'cause I
or
was
13,
bored,
and
I didn't want to do it.
he was asking us to make him some toast or to heat up a Pop-Tart. And we're like, just go put it in the toaster. And he's like, I don't know how to use a toaster. And we just look at him like, okay, we failed as parents. If he doesn't know how to use a toaster.
But I remember I did use a toaster like once before, and I just didn't want to do it. So,
Laziness.
I think it's because we got the newer toaster, and because the other one like broke. So I didn't know how to use that new toaster, and you guys are like,
It's the same. You push something down, and then it pops back up.
not just that. I mean the heating wise. I know what a toaster is supposed to do. If your toaster does not pop the toast out of the toaster, there's something wrong with your toaster. Go get it fixed.
Or you left it on too long. Right?
If you start smelling smoke and then you don't see any toast there, please get your toaster fixed. Or look at it and figure out what's the problem. Or call us at...
No, but I do love to cook. I think I do the majority of the cooking around here. My wife cooks sometimes, but I do
desserts
the majority
and
of
stuff
it.
like that. I mostly do like desserts that I get from cardboard boxes or like the bags and stuff like that. But I still do pretty good with those. Like, that's my thing. I love doing desserts. I love like... I never made bread, but I love bread, and those are some of my favorite things.
I make a pretty good pizza dough.
I mean,
pretty good
you make
pizza.
a pretty good pizza.
I did start making chocolate. I bought the cacao butter to melt down, as well as the cacao powder, and then just add whatever I want into it. And those are turning out good. I really love, I think we've established this before, I love dark chocolate. I love it to not be too sweet.
I think that was a question. Like, do you like dark or light chocolate? Like milk chocolate?
Right.
And we all said dark chocolate. I think, I don't remember what that one was. But.
And so, in order to control the sweetness in it and the way that I want it, I decided I would just start to learn to make my own chocolate.
Mm-hmm. He made with candy canes, peppermint dark chocolate, and it was delicious.
Crushed candy canes in there. And I made one with nuts, but I did a hazelnut dark chocolate. I have, for the next batch, I have some orange oil I'm going to make it with, along with some orange peels, some orange zest inside it. So that'll be good too.
I get to be the taste tester over here.
The first time I tried to make it with coconut oil instead of the cacao butter. And it was fine when it first set, except for the recipe called to use honey instead of sugar or cane sugar in it. And the honey separated from the chocolate, so the honey was all on the bottom. So there was no sweetness on the other part. And the coconut oil melts so easy afterwards. So you had this chocolate that would just melt the moment you're holding it. Plus it wasn't sweet because all the honey was just at the top of it. It did not turn out. That's why I realized that I needed to do it with actual cane sugar. Or I've read that you could do it with the real maple syrup, which I may try as well. And I needed to get the actual cacao butter, and doing it with that turned out great. So anyway, I love to cook. Not everything is from a box. The lumpia today was, because...
Maybe everything's from a box.
That was just easier.
Kidding. No. He likes to make his own stuff, and if we try something from like a different place, he's like, maybe I should try making this. And then he finds a recipe online, and then it comes out a little better than the restaurant that we went and got it from. And
well, I get a recipe and use a recipe for the ideas and the basis. I have a very hard time actually following a recipe. Once I get the basis, okay, here's the ingredients, then I'll go and just kind of figure it out. I do that with mole, because I love mole. Now, pumpkin pie, I did have a recipe, and I'm very specific to that recipe. Okay. But I love mole. But when I looked for recipes online, they had like 10,000 ingredients. And I was like, no way is everybody who makes mole using all these ingredients.
Yeah.
So, as I was eating mole, I started to break apart the flavors, and I'm like, okay, there's this and this and this and this. And just went to the stovetop, decided I was going to make it. And the first time I made it, it turned out really good. And it still does after this. That even my wife's mom, who's from Mexico, makes mole. She said it was really good.
Yeah, I remember, not her saying that, but like, I remember that you had told me that before, where... Like, and I really like your mole too. It's one of my favorite things. Mm-hmm. I remember that when I was a little child. I saw photos.
Oh, you loved mole when you were little.
Had my face covered in it.
Mm-hmm.
The time flies.
So for those who don't know, mole, it's a chili sauce used with chicken in Mexico, but it often has peanut butter and chocolate in it as well. And so I like to make mine a little more with a chili base, right? But it has kind of a cinnamony chocolatey taste, and I'll use the powdered peanut butter mix in order to thicken it up.
Didn't one of your friends really like it too, though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like cooking. We actually are starting an idea around the house because we love trying food from different countries, and we're really adventurous that way. Sometimes with friends, they like to stick to very specific places, and we're like, oh, let's go try out this new restaurant from this country or from that country. So we decided around here that each month we're gonna select a country and just prepare recipes from that country. Get the recipes, learn them, become familiar with it. And it can be anywhere. It could be, well-known cuisine like Italian or Mexican, or it could be lesser-known cuisine. Well, lesser-known around here.
Yeah.
And so that'll be really fun. This next month we're going to be doing food from Belgium. And so that'll be really cool for me because it's kind of similar to the food from Holland. They have some influence there. And with my mom being from Holland, my opa would make a lot of food from there, as well as my Oma. And so I'm kind of excited to learn some of these recipes from Belgium. All right, well, we appreciate you guys joining us today, and we look forward to having you join us next time. Don't forget to follow us, help us get that visibility, as well as for you guys to get the notifications of when we release new episodes.
Thank you.
And have a great day.